Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Warakak, Wadash. And double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone and the elder bishops on down that have taught us this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Brakatham to the elect whom this gospel is for, and it's your brother Laban. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but I just think that maybe Vocab alone will acknowledge this, because I'm going to entitle this video with his name on it. Since he's so against hate, right, that the Hebrew Israelites bring about as we only speak. So by that saying, he should be against the hatred that his people are doing in the East as well, and to their own people. And hopefully maybe he'll speak about this. But of course, an hypocritical man isn't going to address, the wrongs that have been done amongst his own people, history or even current. He's going to railroad all of that and talk against the Hebrew Israelites. Then the actual violence is actually being done. That has been done, and that's actually being done currently. So anyway, as this reads, Jewish man attacks Jewish woman with an axe after mistaking her for a Christian. Wow. It appears this is becoming a trend. Another Miami-like incident yesterday. An Israeli in Jerusalem assaulted a 50-year-old Israeli woman with an axe because he thought she was a Christian. From Israeli state media outlet Khan, a 50-year-old woman was attacked in her home in the old city of Jerusalem this evening by a man armed with an axe, was moderately injured, and was taken to Sha'ar. I don't know. I don't know how they pronounce that in their Hebrew. I mean, I know that they speak that Hebrew, but I know it's Yiddish Hebrew, which is not really the original kind of Hebrew, because it's mixed with other languages as well that I know of. Hospital in the city, and the attacker did not harm the woman's 5 daughters. The attacker did not harm the woman's 5 daughters who were in the house. He shouted in Hebrew, "She is a Christian," as he left the apartment and fled. And the background to the incident is unclear. So again, Vocab Malone posed as a Christian, so he should be concerned about this and speaking about this as well. All right. Amid time, Lipschitz, a neighbor of the woman whose lives is in the apartment above her, told the news, "I heard terrible screams from the apartment below, and when we went out to see what was happening, we saw a man leaving the place shouting, 'She's a Christian.'" So I don't need to read anymore. I mean, it's very well self-explanatory here. What's happened. And so, these JOOs are attacking each other because they're getting traumatized by them Palestinians. And really there's nothing to be traumatized about, because they're the ones that's actually doing more of the killing of those people. Like there's like over tens and thousands of people that were killed, and I think it's in the hundreds of thousands, I think, if I'm correct, or almost, or pretty much touching. Most regarding women and children that's under the rubble in those areas. All right. But you see, again, Vocab alone, he ain't going to talk about this. Because if he's so about hate and he's against hatred, he should be speaking about this as well on his podcast. Because all we're doing is talking. If you look at the Israelites, all we do is talk about what the future of our enemies are going to be. That's it. We don't do the hatred that we speak on, but you actually have people right now putting it into action. All right. I mean, we could take it back right around the 1800s, even into the 20th century, the 1900s. You know how many jakes that got to that got rounded up by these devils, and these devils would actually get together and finding a Negro to lynch, and they would literally sit there and watch a so-called Negro get lynched. And mind you, these were all so-called white Christians, white Republican Christians, or Democratic Christians, whatever you want to call them. They actually did this. You want to talk about the KKK, what they did, burning down property, actually doing harm to people. But yet, we all of a sudden are a group of hate. I mean, the hypocrisy is legendary with this one, man. I tell you, you know. But I mean, what else is to be expected of the devil? He's going to be a hypocrite, isn't he? It's to be expected. You know, as it is written, that the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. This is their time to shine right now. This is their world, and the time is going to come where, you know, they will be repaid for the shit that they're doing right now. All right, it just isn't that time yet, but that time is slowly but surely approaching. Psalms 11 verse 5. The Lord tried the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence is so hateth. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire, and brimstones, and a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. For the righteous Lord loveth righteousness, and his countenance doeth behold the upright. So again, like I said, the time is going to come where there will be a nuclear destruction coming. And most of that nuclear destruction is going to be geared towards America because of the amount of violence that is ensued over there. All right? So anyway, even the UN chief himself considers it a gravely concern. As this reads, UN chiefly gravely concerned at Israeli settler violence in West Bank. So let's play this video here.
In the occupied Palestinian territory, violations of human rights have skyrocketed since the horrific Hamas attacks of October 7 and the intolerable levels of death and destruction in Gaza. And I'm gravely concerned by the rising violence in the occupied West Bank by Israel settlers and other violations, as well as calls for annexation. We are witnessing a precarious ceasefire. We must avoid at all costs a resumption of hostilities. The people in Gaza have already suffered too much.
So there you go. That's how bad it's got that he even had to address it. Violating their human rights. Obadiah 1 and 10 now. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off from forever. And this is something that they should have never, ever done. And they're going to find this out the hard way. They afflicted the people of the Lord himself, the apple of the Lord's eye, as that's said in scripture. So what do you think the judgment is going to be for Esau? I mean, come on. The greatest among us couldn't escape their judgment. And of course, I'm talking about Solomon and even the elect below them. So how in the world is Esau just going to scun from judgment? That's just wishful thinking. Only in your wildest dreams, Esau, are you going to escape your judgment. And when I say Esau, I'm talking about the so-called white man and these JOO wishes that know about what we teach, that consider it to be hatred, but they're actually doing the hatred as we're seeing and hearing them do. You know, it's crazy, man. But then again, it isn't really crazy. It's to be expected because of the devil that the Bible speaks about. Ezekiel 35 and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And that's what we're doing every single week. Almost every day you can say, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be a desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Because, here's the point, thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. And therefore, as I live, save the Lord, power Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Say, if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So going back to the book of Psalms 11 and verse 5, right? As this reads, the Lord tried the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. So the Lord is going to show how much he hates these people by laying their land completely desolate, beginning with America and other places. All right? Let's read a few more verses in this. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. Again, Isaiah 34. In thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in thy all of thy rivers. And shall they all fall that are slain with the sword. Let me do this instead, because I get a bit I get a little bit of a brain error when I move this and read it at the same time. So I ain't gonna do that. I will make thee a perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. And those two countries, those two nations, he's referring to all of the 12 tribes of Israel, because they believe that we are there for their possession. That's our only purpose. And that's, again, pride. And this is what they're going to be deceived by, their own pride, thinking that they can abscond the judgment that is written for them. All right? And it's not going to work, because the reality has it that they're going to pay for the crimes that they have committed against humanity, but primarily against the people whom the Lord has chosen. Now you got problems. And that's why these devils, they're going to try and do everything that they can to try to override, or let's just say skip over judgment. There's no such thing as skipping over judgment. You can't go too low under, and you can't go over it. Esau is going into captivity, and it's going to be the worst captivity of all captivities that many nations have suffered. Even the captivity that we've suffered. So that's all I have to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Baharakah Kwadash. And with that, I close. Shalom.